referring to some of the moves made by Canadians as the moves of a hothead. We know that the president is there, and we know that our own prime minister is on this very important trip to Asia, seeking a new trade deal with Asian partners.
We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that policy has fundamentally changed.
U.S. President Donald Trump says that he is increasing tariffs on Canada due to an Ontario anti-tariff ad campaign. Trump announced on his social media that Canada will face an additional 10% in tariffs, quote, above what they're paying now.
The global balance of power is shifting, and at the heart of that transformation stands a country few expected to take center stage, Canada. In Kuala Lumpur, the arrival of Prime Minister Mark Carney for the 2025 ASEAN summit signaled more than a diplomatic visit. It was a statement that echoed in capitals around the world. Cameras flashed as Mr. and Mrs. Carney stepped onto a red carpet lined with honor guards and smiling dignitaries. Military bands played while leaders from across Asia extended their hands in welcome. The message was unmistakable. Canada matters now more than ever. But what exactly has changed? How did a nation long viewed as a quiet neighbor of the United States suddenly become a power the world is eager to engage with? For decades, Canada's identity on the global stage revolved around its proximity to Washington. Trade, diplomacy, and defense policy often followed American rhythms. Yet in recent years, that script has begun to unravel. Carney's arrival in Malaysia marks a pivotal turning point, a moment when Canada begins to stand on its own, forging a future defined by independence and ambition. The world is taking notice because what Canada offers today is precisely what the international community desperately needs: stability, innovation, and leadership that looks forward, not backward. This trip to Malaysia is more than an appearance at a summit. It's a mission to reshape the country's role in the world. Carney's agenda is bold. He plans to double Canada's exports to markets outside the United States within a decade. On paper, it sounds like an economic goal. In practice, it's a strategic declaration that Canada will no longer let its prosperity hinge on decisions made in Washington that are in a symbolic twist. Even though U.S. President Donald Trump is attending the same summit, there is no meeting scheduled between them. None at all. That silence speaks volumes. Carney is not in Asia to chase old alliances, but to build new ones in Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and Seoul, the capitals where the next century's growth will be written. Every element of this visit has been crafted with purpose. The ASEAN summit gathers some of the world's fastest-growing economies, and Carney's presence among them is deliberate and timely. His focus is clear: strengthen Canada's ties across Asia, attract investment, and open doors for Canadian industries that have long depended on American markets. His government has already made it official. Doubling exports beyond the U.S. is no longer a wish but a policy. Yet behind the economic language lies something deeper, a shift in mindset. For generations, Canadian policymakers looked south for opportunity. Now, they are looking west toward a region that represents more than half of the world's trade in goods and services. Diplomats often say that half the battle is simply showing up. And Carney showed up ready to redefine the narrative. His message to Asian leaders is straightforward. Canada is a serious, reliable partner committed for the long term. Under his leadership, the country is positioning itself as a champion of cooperation over coercion and a defender of a rules-based order over power politics. It's a refreshing tone in an era when global tensions are rising and trust in international institutions is fading. While Canada may share many values with its southern neighbor, Carney is making it clear that its approach is distinct. For the first time in decades, the world is seeing a Canada unafraid to lead on its own terms. Asia's economic dominance is no longer a prediction, it's a reality. The region has become the center of global commerce, technology, and innovation. Carney understands that if Canada is to thrive in the 21st century, its future must be tied to Asia's rise. For too long, Western leaders have clung to the idea that influence flows from the Atlantic. But today, the Pacific is where new opportunities are born. Carney's strategy accepts this truth and acts on it. His focus isn't about distancing from the United States, but about ending the dependence that has limited Canada's potential for so long. For decades, policy in Ottawa mirrored the priorities of Washington. Trade routes, foreign relations, and security initiatives all shaped by America's orbit. Carney's vision breaks that pattern. He sees a world evolving fast and knows Canada's future depends on adapting to it. Growth, innovation, and new markets are emerging across Asia, and they are not waiting for anyone to catch up. So Canada is choosing to lead with ambition, not permission. Carney's tour through Southeast Asia marks the first real test of this new direction. After Malaysia, his journey continues to Singapore and South Korea, each stop representing a vital piece of Canada's long-term strategy. Singapore's financial dynamism, South Korea's technological strength, and Malaysia's expanding infrastructure all align perfectly with what Carney wants Canada to become, a global partner that thrives through collaboration. He isn't offering ultimatums or demands. He is offering opportunity, a chance for shared growth rooted in trust and long-term vision. But Carney also knows that diplomacy alone cannot transform a nation's future. It's only the first step. The real work begins at home. Agreements signed abroad will mean little unless Canadian industries, universities, entrepreneurs, and innovators are ready to seize the moment. That's the heart of Carney's challenge, to inspire Canadians to look beyond traditional borders and recognize that the world's economic gravity has shifted. Asia can no longer be treated as an afterthought. It's now the front line of opportunity. For generations, Canada's attention oscillated between the United States and Europe. That balance is changing rapidly. Carney's agenda is about diversifying every layer of the nation's engagement with the world: trade routes, energy corridors, supply chains, education, and technology. This is not merely an economic shift, but a cultural one, a rethinking of how Canada sees itself and how it wants to be seen. The goal is not to replace one dependency with another, but to weave a broader network of partnerships that make Canada more resilient in an unpredictable world. If Carney's plan succeeds, the real measure of progress won't be found only in trade numbers or GDP charts. It will be in the connections formed between people. The future he envisions is one where Canadian students study in Seoul, Malaysian firms open offices in Vancouver, and entrepreneurs from Toronto to Calgary collaborate with innovators from Singapore and Jakarta. Carney's journey represents more than political mission. It's a redefinition of national identity. Canada is stepping into the 21st century with a confidence that matches its potential. It's no longer content to be a supporting player in someone else's story. In a world searching for stability and purpose, Canada is beginning to write its own. These ties go far beyond commerce. They shape culture, education, and shared values. Trade agreements can be signed in a day, but genuine partnerships, the kind that reshape how nations see each other, take years of trust to build. Mark Carney seems to understand that instinctively. The global reaction to his Asia initiative has been immediate and striking. Across the region, media outlets have described his presence at the ASEAN summit as a defining moment for Canada's international image. Leaders have welcomed him not just as a policymaker, but as a realist who listens, a Western leader who understands that power in this century comes from cooperation, not dominance. They see in Canada something rare among major powers: balance. A calm, pragmatic nation that seeks unity in a time of division. That perception is quickly becoming Canada's most valuable diplomatic asset. In a world often defined by confrontation, Canada's quiet confidence has begun to stand out. The days when it was seen as polite but peripheral are fading. Now, it's viewed as a bridge linking the West and East, the old world and the new. This shift isn't about outshining superpowers, it's about offering a credible alternative. And as Carney's meetings unfold across Asia, it's becoming clear that many nations are eager to work with a country that brings steadiness instead of spectacle. From Kuala Lumpur to Seoul, one theme runs through every conversation: trust. Carney's leadership style embodies it. His background as an economist and central banker gives him credibility, but it's his composure and clarity that set him apart. He doesn't speak in grand slogans or threats. His diplomacy reflects Canada's national character: measured, respectful, and deeply strategic. It's that quiet strength that resonates across Asia, especially in an era when volatility defines global politics. The summit in Malaysia has, in many ways, become a stage for a larger transformation. What's unfolding is not simply a shift in trade policy, but a redefinition of national purpose. Canada is no longer content to be a secondary voice in global affairs. It's stepping forward as an independent force, a nation ready to compete, collaborate, and lead on its own terms. Carney's initiative marks the beginning of a new era in which Canadian influence grows not from being America's closest ally, but from being the world's most trusted partner. The contrast with Washington is striking and intentional. Where others wield pressure, Canada offers partnership. Where some nations chase dominance, Canada pursues balance. This distinction is resonating far beyond Asia. Across Europe, Africa, and the Americas, leaders are watching how Canada navigates its rise with quiet confidence rather than confrontation. It's a demonstration that soft power, when rooted in credibility and consistency, can carry as much influence as any show of force up by the close of a summit. One truth had become undeniable. The world is looking at Canada differently. The handshake photos and press briefings may fade, but the impression remains. The polite, reserved country once defined by geography is being replaced by one defined by vision, a Canada that trades with Asia, invests in Africa, innovates with Europe, and acts with confidence on the world stage. It's a transformation not of personality but of purpose. Mark Carney's leadership now stands as the face of a nation in transition, steady, deliberate, and unshakably confident. His journey to Malaysia isn't a fleeting diplomatic visit. It feels like the moment history turns a page. From the streets of Kuala Lumpur to the corridors of power in Washington, one truth is echoing louder than ever. Canada has stepped into its own. The world no longer sees a polite observer waiting in the shadows. It sees a nation ready to lead with vision, purpose, and quiet strength. This moment represents more than a diplomatic milestone. It marks the start of a new chapter in Canadian leadership. The old era of reliance has ended. The new era of independence has begun to iron other developments. Carney confirmed that he hasn't spoken with Donald Trump since trade negotiations between Canada and the United States collapsed last week. Yet he emphasized that communication lines remain open, saying he would always be willing to speak with a U.S. president as he would with any other world leader. His statement revealed more than a diplomatic pause. It highlighted a cooling relationship that once seemed full of promise. Not long ago, Carney and Trump stood side by side in the Oval Office, exchanging polite smiles and confident gestures amid optimism that long-standing trade tensions were close to resolution. Then, without warning, it all unraveled.